I'm Miriam, a physiotherapist here at Fit for Life Physiotherapy, and I wanted to share with you a bit of a routine that I like to do using the foam roller. I like to do it after I've been working a lot at my computer, and I also do it every time after I finish riding the bike. I've been doing a lot of indoor cycling this winter, and this is a great way to counteract that forward posture on the bike, that forward posture when we're sitting. So what you need is a foam roller. If you don't have a foam roller, you can use a towel or a blanket and roll it up and make a cylinder with it, okay? So once you have what you need, you're gonna come to lie on the roller. So you're gonna have your buttocks at one end and let yourself lie right down on the roll, making sure that your head is on the roll. Don't let it hang off the end. If when you're lying here that your head's kind of back like this, put something underneath it so that your head can be a little bit more neutral. And then from here, bring your arms out to the side. And in this position, you're gonna feel a nice stretch through the chest. If you find that lying here with your arms out to the side, it doesn't feel comfortable with them just hanging here in midair, you can use a cushion or a block or something underneath the arms to give it a little bit of some support. You want to make sure that when you're lying here, you're not allowing the shoulders to roll forward like this. Keep them open, palms up towards the ceiling. And I always say this is the easiest exercise because you just lay here and enjoy. As you're over the roll like this, you'll get a little bit of extension over the roll, and as I said, a little bit of an opening through the chest. So just hanging out here for a few breaths and really trying to stay as relaxed as you can, and just notice whether there's any places where you're tensing up, and if there are, just sort of let it go. Just try to breathe it out. And then from here, bring your arms in together and reach them up towards the ceiling, palms facing in. And then reach your fingertips towards the ceiling so that you feel your shoulder blades wrap around you. And then sink your shoulder blades back down towards the ground so they almost wrap around that roll. And then reach up again, making sure that you're not rounding your back, but you're just reaching the arms up and then sink back down. And as you do this movement, you're just gonna feel that shoulder blade move forward and sink back down a little bit. Starts to get a little bit of movement there, loosening up that shoulder blade. Gives a little bit of awareness of how we move through that area around the shoulder girdle. One more time, and then sink the shoulders down. And from here, drop one arm behind you, the other down by your side, and then reverse. Just going as far as what feels comfortable. So if you've got a little bit of some shoulder discomfort, just stay within that range of what feels okay. One more each side. And then bring your arms towards the ceiling again, making sure shoulder blades are down, and drop both arms behind you. And you might feel a little bit more of a stretch in the upper back. And then bring them down by your sides. And just move in and out of this position. It's not just loosening up the shoulder, but gets that upper back moving a little bit better as well. Trying one more, reach the arms back over your head, and then bring your arms back out to the sides. And notice whether perhaps it feels a little easier than the first time you were here, a little less of a stretch. And just pausing here for a breath or two. And then bring your hands behind your head so that you clasp your hands together just underneath that bony spot on your head. making sure your hand and your heads are still resting on the roll. You can have your elbows out wide, or if it's more comfortable, have them bent, whatever feels comfortable for you. And then nod your chin down towards your throat, and with your hands, just give a little bit of a gentle pull or tractioning, getting a little bit of a stretch of the upper neck there. And then just let it relax. And nod your chin down, so you're not trying to pull your head up. You're keeping your head on the roll and just nodding the chin down, giving a little bit of an extra pull. So the idea is that we're stretching that area at the very top of the neck that tends to get a little bit tight when we're sitting with that head forward posture, either at your desk or when you're on the bike and sort of rounded forward looking up, that top part of the neck can get a little bit tight. One more. And then letting that relax. And if you want, come back to this position again one more time. And then from here, we're gonna roll a little bit over off to the side and just come up into sitting for a moment. And we're gonna spin the roll around so that it's perpendicular to your body. So from here, the roll is behind you. You're gonna lean back so that it comes about the middle of your back. Bring your hands behind your head, supporting the weight of your head, keeping your chin tucked in. And then lift your hips up just a little bit, and you can roll up and down. Kind of like giving yourself a little bit of a self-massage. And you can do sort of a full length of your spine, or just stay in one small area, whatever feels good for you. And then come to a point where it's maybe around your shoulder blades, and let your buttocks come back to the ground. Keep your chin tucked and just let yourself lean back. You're still supporting the weight of your head, so your neck stays in a neutral position. And then let yourself come back up. Let yourself lean back again. And coming up, perhaps you play around with where the roll goes. You might slide down so that it's up a little higher and leaning back, getting some extension through that upper back, counteracting our typical posture where we might be slouched forward. So you can play around with where you place this roll and spend as much time or as little time doing this as you want. And then from here, we're just gonna let the roll slide further down so that it's underneath your head. Now, this is not a position I would have you stay in for too long because it is kind of pushing your head forward. But you can do a little bit of, almost a bit of a self-massage here. If you just let your head roll from one side to the other, it's kind of right on that area where the bone is, and that area can sometimes be a little bit tender. And you may notice that you get a little bit of a stretch as you go to each side. And then come to the center and nod your chin down again. And you'll find you're gonna feel which movement feels the best for you and what you want to spend time with, or whether you want to spend any time here at all. You may find that this is not for you and you're just going to take the roll away. So trying back and forth one or two more times. And then you're going to let this come right out from underneath your head and spin it around to come underneath your legs, okay? Once you have it here, you're going to lift your hips up and slide the roll underneath your pelvis so that it's not right on your lower back, but right at the pelvis here. Don't let your feet go really wide. I want you to walk your feet in nice and close, and just notice here whether you feel a stretch here at the front of the hips. And if you do, this may be all you want to do right here, is you are getting a bit of a gentle opening through the front of the hips. Or you can take it a little further, that you're going to draw one knee in towards your chest, grab behind your leg with your hand and draw the knee in, and then let your other leg go out straight. And when you let this leg go straight, you don't want to let your back arch away. You want to keep yourself in a nice neutral position. And you're just going to hang out here, getting a nice stretch through the front of the hips here. You might find you want to put your foot towards the ceiling. Don't try to straighten it all the way, but maybe so your knee's at about a 90 degrees and draw the knee down. And it's kind of like doing a little bit of a lunge stretch. If you look at the shape of your body, it's just like a standing lunge stretch. We just happen to be lying on our back. And just take a few breaths here. Make sure you're relaxed through the shoulders. Let the foot relax down, let the knee bend. You might take your hand to the inside of that knee and just let the knee come out to the side a little bit. Not so far that you roll your whole body, keeping the pelvis anchored. Just getting a little bit of a stretch through the inner thigh. Bring that knee back to the center, and then bend the other knee. Let your foot come back down and draw the other leg towards your chest. Draw the knee in, keep your back in neutral as you let the other leg lengthen out. Feeling that nice stretch through the front of your left hip. Maybe you let that foot come towards the ceiling a little bit, let the knee come down. When you bring the foot up a little bit, you tend to feel a little bit more of a stretch through the hamstrings as well. Make sure you're relaxed through the shoulders. And then from here, take your hand to the inside of that knee, maybe let the foot drop a little bit, and just let the knee come out to the side. Again, not so far that the other hip comes off the pelvis, but just enough that you feel a little bit of a stretch through that inner thigh. And then bring the knee back to the center. Bend your other knee, and then bring this foot back down to the ground, and just pause here for a moment and notice whether this feels any easier than when you first lay down here, whether there's a little bit less of a stretch or a little less tension in the front of the hips. And you can stay here as long as you want, or if you find that you've had enough, you're just going to lift your hips and let the roll down, and let yourself come down to the ground and just sort of settle yourself. You may even find that you want to just let your legs go out long and just pause for a moment and notice whether you're feeling a little less tension throughout your body compared to when you first lay down. And then when you're ready to get back up, bend your knees, roll to the side, and make your way up into sitting. So that can be a really great routine to include in at the end of your workday, as I said, or if you've been riding your bike indoors this winter, it's a great little routine to do after your bike ride, or once you start again in the spring, something to do when you get home